I see Billy.
Leave Billy alone.
Oh, beautiful. You know what he says that I have you ever seen that YouTube video? Leave Brittany alone.
Leave Brittany alone.
That's what I imagine right now. Of him saying, "Leave Billy alone." We just need him in some crying and some mascara.
Oh my gosh. The mascara part won't happen
Again?
again. Yeah.
Well, there's a few times you've used it, isn't there?
Okay, yes.
Did you use mascara at Josh's bachelor party is my only question.
No, okay, Josh is no.
Okay.
Josh is no.
Okay.
I only made
wait.
it for the very end of the night.
Wait. You said Josh's no. Whose did you?
Oh, and so, no, I didn't. No, okay, I didn't at Nico's either. No, why did I say it like that?
Yeah. Regardless, that's a very appropriate intro, especially right now with the whole Britney Spears thing. And
I know, that's what I was thinking. I was like, shoot, she's been a topic lately. Oh.
Yeah, Britney Spears conservatorship and all that. It's an interesting conversation and topic just in itself. Can you force someone into conservatorship, and why is that a bad thing in that regard? And
Free Britney hashtag.
So apparently Aaron is on the hashtag Free Britney train. Got it. I guess you'll have time to plan all that in Lockdown 2.0, which is coming to you relatively soon, depending on who you listen to in the news and that. I love that.
Okay. Now this is my only question. For this lockdown, will I be able to stay off of work? Or do I get to continue working?
Knowing them,
I'm going to keep working, aren't I?
no, because they want you dependent.
Wait, what?
They want you to be like, no, let me live off of my unemployment. They want you to live off of that.
So I'm not.
Who knows? Lockdown 2.0 is this wonderful conversation that is starting to circulate because there's people who want us to return to lockdown again like we did last year in 2020. And honestly, I think if they try to force that on anyone,
it's not going to be pretty.
There's going to be some people that are going to revolt and say, nope, I am done with this stuff. Yeah.
As far as, okay. I don't want to lock down for the purpose of, because then, I mean, if there's a lockdown, I imagine that's going to shut down a lot of things that I'd probably want to go do.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But also at the same time, I can't play this one at work. If there is a lockdown, I would be okay with it if I don't have to go to work. But for the first lockdown, we were essential and we were needed. I'd imagine for this next one anyways, we'd still be essential.
You'd be essential probably as well.
Even though we're not making stuff for the ventilators anymore, we still make some straps occasionally for medical purposes.
Nope, so. Now you'll just be making the straps that locks people into their houses.
Don't.
Good old Chinese Communist Party.
Don't put that out there, because now we might do it.
I'm kidding. If you get trapped in your house by a speed wrap, is that what your product is called? If you get trapped in your house by a speed wrap, you might need to work on your strength a little.
We're calling speed wrap weak
when compared to an average person. Yes, unless you're doing like 50,000 layers around the house, then okay, I get it.
What was it? I think it was we did a test, and I was part of the test where we had a thing of, it was 2 inches thick.
Okay.
And we made, what we did was I can't remember how much of an overlap there was. It wasn't a massive overlap.
Okay. Anyways, go on.
But it was long enough where we made like a swing out of it, and they had me sit on it and lifted me up with the fork truck to see if it would withhold me, and it held me without a problem.
Did you try jumping up and down on it?
I mean, I kind of swung and bounced a bit. it stayed. I mean, now it got bent. I mean, it stretched a little bit, but it didn't break or give way. So, I mean, if we get the right stuff and we get, big enough of a grip on there, you ain't opening no doors.
Bet. Regardless.
All right.
If your product is used for that, then we'll talk about other things.
Yeah, I hope we would not accept that job, because then I will not do it.
Because then I'd be like, oh, you're part of the CCP now. I got it.
No.
Speaking of CCP, CCP, Chinese Communist Party, right?
Yeah.
You remember Jackie Chan?
Yeah.
The actor?
I remember that guy.
Yeah.
Is he the leader of it?
No, he's not the leader, but he wants to join them.
Oh.
He's like, China is doing such great. He's praising China and all these things. I'm like, buddy.
Uh-oh.
You don't know what you're doing. But regardless of the fact, there's talk about Lockdown 2.0. Yay! Everyone celebrate. I don't know.
I see. The only thing, again, I would like is if I can just stay home. I wouldn't be against that, I guess, to a point, for myself, for so long. But at the same time, I don't want to lock.
So it's interesting watching this, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of what's driving this is this new Delta variant of the COVID-19 virus. And
what's so special about this Delta variant?
Well, it's slightly different. So there is a question about those who are vaccinated, if they're protected from this Delta variant or not. It's a question. It's not a yes or no. It's we don't know. We got to research this.
You gotta get a volunteer that's been vaccinated, and then find somebody that's got the Delta one, and then have them transfer it, and then see how they do.
We'll see.
I'm kidding.
Because the Delta variant of SARS-CoV-2, COVID-2.
Yeah.
What makes the Delta variant special is that there is a mutation in the gene which encodes that spike protein of the virus. Now, that spike protein is how it connects to your cells and does all that fun stuff to you.
Okay.
And that's how it transmits and infects and all that fun stuff, right?
All right.
So because there's a variation in that spike protein, it's a question of where if you have antibodies, either you were infected previously via COVID. I don't know what you want to call it. The pristine COVID, the divine COVID, the main COVID. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it, right? You get
okay.
If you were infected with that, or if you got vaccinated against COVID prime, where COVID Delta will be covered via that. And then it's a question of, the efficiency of, the Johnson & Johnson versus the Pfizer versus Moderna versus whatever other one is out there in the world, because there's a bunch of other ones out there.
Of them now.
Which is fine for those of you who want, who are like, yes, all the vaccines.
Dude, what I say? Can you take multiple vaccines or no? I mean, there's got to be people that have done multiple.
I'm sure there are. You know what? Before you do anything with the vaccine thing, though, talk to your family doctor. Talk to your personal doctor.
Smart, yeah.
What drives me nuts right now is you have these places like, and I haven't seen any in Wisconsin, but I've seen them advertised in other places, like in Ohio and that. It's like, come to the bar, get a COVID shot, get a shot on us, stuff like that. And it's like, hold on, shouldn't your doctor be having this conversation with your doctor and not just a random stranger? Which also drives me nuts.
Hey there, bartender, should I get this?
Well, obviously it's not going to be the bartender who's giving you the shot. It's going to be giving you the after shot, not the COVID shot.
I'm getting some shot from the bartender.
Just like I find it, what was it? Jen Psaki, or however you say her name, that works at the White House, where she's saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to do this whole thing about like going up to your house and give you COVID information and encourage you to get the shot and all that." Fine, that's fine, but
right.
Maybe instead of saying that, maybe you should say, "Hey, talk to your doctor about it," because each person, depending on your medical history, there might be a reason why you can't have that shot. There are some people who can't have it due to allergies to certain chemicals or certain proteins within the vaccine. And that's a thing that has to be judged between you and your doctor, not judged by you and the government. In fact, when it's judged by you and the government, that's when I start saying, hey, we're having some issues here.
Right.
It's like,
because they're looking at everybody as if they're the same.
Yeah. And, where you want to get the vaccine or not, again, talk to your doctor. And you talk to your doctor and you both come up with the same conclusion, then great. Whatever. But I'm not one who's going to be like, oh, you didn't get the vaccine. Naughty, naughty. And conversely, I'm not going to go, you got the vaccine. Naughty, naughty.
Yeah, man.
That's personal decision there.
Yep.
But government really wants to kind of get into your private business and say, yeah, it's our business that you're vaccinated or not. In fact, there was a government official recently who said, yes, it is our business that if you're vaccinated or not.
Why? No, I don't get that.
So it was the Health and Human Services secretary who said it is absolutely the government's business who is not vaccinated. That Xavier Becerra who said that. And this was in defense of the White House's statement that the administration would go door to door to get people vaccinated. And the reason he said it's the government's business is because the government spent trillions of dollars to try to keep Americans alive during the pandemic. And because of that, the state,
we owe them.
The state, the government, the Biden administration, should know if you are vaccinated or not.
No.
So I don't agree with that at all. That's not the government's purview. That's not the government's right. That's not the government's ability, or is that a power granted to them in the Constitution anywhere for them to be? Now, if you are a government employee or you're in the military or something like that, yeah, then you're kind of government property at that point. Let's be honest. Yay, government property. But yeah, and you already have places like out in Los Angeles and that where they're reintroducing the mask mandate for everyone, vaccinated or not, where you're indoors or not.
Wow, vaccinated or not. Even.
Yeah. And I'm looking at that, I'm like, I think you're actually doing a disservice to people in as far as getting that vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
If you're telling them, well, it doesn't matter if you have the vaccine or not, you still need to wear a mask. It's like, so what's the difference? Why should I get this thing if I have to wear a mask or not? In fact, so Biden had this big thing where it's like he wanted, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but he wanted so many people vaccinated by July 4th.
Yeah. Has he reached that number?
They did not reach that number. And there are all these companies, was it Bud Light or?
I'm not.
It was one of the beer companies that were like, if we reach Biden's vaccine numbers by July 4th, we will buy everyone a beer. Oh, yay, right? Yeah, because I want Bud or Miller or whatever that is.
Nah, dude.
No. I'm like someone who on their 21st birthday who wanted.
Okay, you know what? It was Coors Light.
Coors.
Okay.
Even worse.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, that was my inexperienced moment.
Yeah, very much so.
I'm trying to. I feel like I've seen that commercial, and then I don't know. But besides that,
yeah,
I don't know about you, but I still wait. Did I do anything for 4th of July? Well, ish, not really, but because I remember Biden saying it was well, if we get vaccinated, we can have a little hangout, with family and stuff for the 4th of July. Yeah, that happened anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I
even if we didn't hit your number, so sorry, but I'm not.
Yeah, I just kind of did nothing.
I didn't really do anything though, which was really weird. Like, I don't know, generally I get together with a couple friends, go see some fireworks. Yeah, none of that this year.
Yeah, there wasn't really too much to do with that. I just had Xena be making sure that she was all calmed down and everything.
Or how did she do with that?
She did fine. And July 4th, I also spent a lot of the day over at the lieutenant's house playing board games. And I had Xena with me that entire time.
Wow,
so she got to play with Lieutenant's younger brother's dog, Bear.
Nice.
They had fun.
That's good.
They had fun. They tired each other out, but they had fun.
Good.
They all had bite marks all over each other, but they had fun.
But they had fun.
But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Okay. But so yeah. So what? Mask whether vaccinated or not.
Yep. And Fauci's even pushing that. On a July 4th interview, around July 4th, Fauci says, "Go the extra mile and wear the mask, even if you're vaccinated." Because why not, right?
It just makes common sense.
Well, let's talk about a specific here. We know Mississippi is one of the lowest, I believe it's the lowest vaccinated, has the lowest vaccinated rate in the country. If you were in Biloxi, Mississippi right now, Dr. Fauci, would you be wearing a mask? You're fully vaccinated, but would you be wearing a mask in Biloxi, Mississippi?
I think there would be a good reason to do that. I mean, because there, as we've said so often, that vaccines are not, even as good as they are and highly effective, nothing is 100%. And if you put yourself in an environment in which you have a high level of viral dynamics and a very low level of vaccine, you might want to go the extra step and say, when I'm in that area where there's a considerable degree of viral circulation, I might want to go the extra mile to be cautious enough to make sure that I get the extra added level of protection, even though the vaccines themselves are highly effective.
No, I guess we do need another lockdown. We might as well just stay at home.
Well, here's the thing I don't understand about this whole conversation, this whole comment he just made, right? The mask we were told to wear was to protect other people from our germs.
Yeah, not ourselves.
Not protect us from other people's germs.
Yeah, it's flipped.
So
what do you know?
I'm like, what? Fauci, what's going on? I don't know what is going on.
Oh my gosh, honestly, we should just go the extra mile and just lock down again. Stay isolated so we just don't spread it.
There are people who want that. There are people.
I know there are.
Oh man, there are definitely people like at where I work at that are scared of return to campus because they're like, oh, there's going to be unvaccinated people around. I'm like, okay, yeah, if you're vaccinated, yes, it's not 100%. I get it.
Yeah,
no vaccine. Like Fauci. Fauci said something correct.
Yeah,
for once, there's no vaccine that's 100%.
Yeah, good job.
Good job. And that's the same thing like if you get the meningitis vaccine and all that. Now, there are certain vaccines that are required to get like when you go to a college, like meningitis, which, to be fair, okay, if I had a choice between not getting meningitis and getting the meningitis vaccine, I would definitely take it. Side effects are relatively low. We've had this vaccine for a long time. And meningitis, if you get it, you're pretty much guaranteed to be in a world of pain and suffering and death. Meningitis, for Aaron, because he looks puzzled, it's like a swelling of the brain disease.
Yeah.
So that's one, especially like, because it's a very contagious disease. So yeah. Especially like if you're living in the dorms. You probably did when you were younger.
Is it a lifetime thing, or is it how often do you have to have that?
They normally recommend like a booster, like when you're going to college age, like if you're going to live in a communal dorms or something like that with a lot of people, they would recommend it then. But if you're not living in the communal dorm, you might not have gotten that booster at that point in time.
No, I definitely haven't then.
But there's other diseases that we've had the vaccines around for a long time, and we're like, yeah, we know exactly what's going to happen with this one. Woohoo.
Right.
We're good to go. The thing that people are a little more concerned about this one is using a different type of tech to deliver the virus, the vaccine information, and so, and it's not, and I'll admit, it's not helping us that there is a bunch of fake information floating around on the web. And I know everything on the internet is true, right?
Yeah.
And part of it is, and we need to be cognizant of this, and we have to own up to a lot of this fake information is coming from, conservative side of the internet. As much as I hate to say that, because it's like, oh yeah, people on the Christian side or conservative side would never lie. Yeah, right. That's not the truth, unfortunately. And the reason I say that is because, I heard it from my own mother. oh, this vaccine, it alters your DNA and I'm like,
where did they hear that?
I don't know where they're hearing that. The thing is, okay, it's using RNA technology.
Okay.
Which, oh my goodness, that's one letter away from DNA. Oh. RNA, DNA.
No, yeah.
But so the RNA uses that messenger between cells. It can message within your cell, is not between cells, within your cell for your cell to create different things. It doesn't alter your DNA. And people are like, oh, but it's ejected inside your cell, so therefore, you know
It's
how,
gotta be able to.
you know how I know? Because every day your body uses RNA every day to do different things, to give instructions to your cells on how to grow and how to reproduce and how to do things.
Well, mine need to work quicker.
It's not altering your DNA every second. In fact, think of it this way: DNA is what happens in the cell. Is the DNA will unravel, the RNA will go up to it, replicate what it needs off the DNA, as a match. Then the DNA essentially re-ravels up.
Yeah.
I
remember watching that video in school of how that all works.
Yeah.
It's pretty freaking crazy.
It is crazy. But think about it. It's not the RNA going up to it and modifying the DNA. The DNA is, think of it this way for you computer people. Your DNA is essentially, unless something can override the permissions, it's essentially a read-only file.
Yeah.
It contains the blueprints.
Yeah.
And then this RNA comes up. Now, in the craziest world theory, could something happen where there's a weird mutation or a weird reaction where it causes an update to the DNA?
Yeah, this coronavirus stuff, man.
There is always that possibility, but the main functionality of RNA is not to do that. And so, like I said, we have this whole thing of going on in the wild, in the world, where people are like, well, I'm not going to get vaccinated because I don't trust it. Talk to your physician. Again, make that a decision between you and your physician, and do you do this or not?
Right.
And I get that. It's like, oh, new tech, it's scary. It's the same as, grandparents, you put a cell phone in front of them. Oh, new thing, it's
what
scary.
Is this? Is it watching me?
Well, you have a phone. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hate to break it to you.
And just so I understand why some people are like, I don't want it, and there are people going like, well, hey, we haven't studied the effects of it, that is a valid a point. We don't know all the side effects of this vaccine. Every vaccine, whether we like it or not, has some side effects. And that could be anything from, a sore arm to a headache to fatigue to illness to some people have gotten new food sensitivities since getting either the vaccine or COVID.
Yeah.
I've heard from both sides. So there's certainly things going on. There's certainly side effects. And if there's side effects, it's doing something long term, which might be one of those weird instances where it override the read-only file.
Oh, okay.
What?
I'm just trying to think. So should I try and get COVID or the vaccine just to see if it gets rid of my fish allergy? If I really even have much of one anymore anyway?
I haven't heard of people getting rid of allergies. They only got new ones.
Oh, well, frick. Okay. I'm just going to stay away from it then.
Yeah. So, someone I know, they went from loving eggs to now being allergic to eggs after they got COVID.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want that.
So
I love eggs too.
So yeah, it's not one of those things of like, yay, I'm going to go to a COVID party and get COVID. No,
I'm going to get cleansed. That. I'm cleansing my body now.
You're cleansing your body.
Cleansing with COVID.
But anyway, so we have the Delta variant going through now and coming through and causing a bunch of issue. And by the way you're hearing it, you're like, oh, Delta variant, it's gonna kill us all.
Just like them killer bees.
Okay. So do you know how many confirmed cases of the Delta variant there are in the United States as of today, July 17th, 2021?
5,000?
It's a little bit higher than that.
25?
No, lower.
15?
15,132 cases confirmed as of July 17th. Okay. That's across the entire United States.
Yeah, there's how many people in the United States? A few 100 million?
Yeah.
I'd say I'm kind of comfortable with those numbers.
So, people are freaking out about it. And to be fair, okay, the news media knows how to facilitate things to make it sound scary.
Oh, that's what their job is.
Okay? If you hear on the news, right? 57% of the variant cases of all confirmed COVID cases are of the Delta variant. You hear 57%, you hear that number, right? This is up from 20% just last week. You're like, 30, there's a 30 big increase. It went from 20 to 50. Oh!
Yeah.
What they're not talking about is the total number of COVID cases. If that percentage increase, 20 to 50%,
yeah,
what's the number we're basing this off of? If that number is, I'm just throwing out a number, I'm not throwing out an actual number. If that number is 30,
that takes
50% of 30 cases is the Delta variant.
That's 15 people. Oh my gosh.
I know, but which sounds scarier?
Yeah, definitely what you said.
57%.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, because if you don't know, then, as you just made, if you don't know that number is 30 as opposed to 300,000, it makes a huge difference. Because that one, I guess, if it was a 300,000 and it went from 20 to 50%, that is a very rapid, quick moving.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, and I will be fair, when you just give percentages, it's like, come on, you got to give me
numbers,
right? The confirmed number, 7-day average in the United States, the confirmed number of new cases per day.
Of Delta or just regular?
Just COVID in general. This includes Delta and everything,
Okay.
Because there's other variants besides Delta, by the way.
Yeah.
Delta variant is 57% of all the variants detected. So you take the number of COVID cases, right? Is it the sacred COVID, or is it the Delta COVID, or is it different COVID? Okay. Of those that are different than the sacred COVID, 57% are the Delta variant. Okay. But to be fair, in the United States, the 7-day average has gone up a little bit. I wish they would give me data back to like when this whole started, right? But the 7-day average right now, as of today, is 39,155 new cases a day.
Okay.
So as of yesterday, there were 34,929 new cases total in the U.S. of COVID.
Okay.
That being said, bringing up the death graph, which is a weird graph to say, right?
The death graph.
Our 7-day average is 386 deaths per day right now over the 7 days.
Okay.
Over the entire United States. Now, don't get me wrong. One death is still too many, but it's not like where we were back last year,
Right.
where it was like just ridiculous.
What was it last year?
I'm trying to pull that up, but it is not letting me go back that far.
It's been erased.
No, it's probably just, need to pull up an old, like, archive data, just what it is. So, yes, right now, we're kind of going up a little bit, but we're nowhere near where we were
a year ago.
Last year, because, oh, boy.
Yeah.
And last year, I get it, while we were in... Why we were in our wonderfulness of locking down, because especially at the start, we had no idea what was going on. We were like, "What's going on? I have no idea what's going on." Like, we knew cough, flu-like symptoms.
Yeah.
Notice I didn't say the flu, flu-like symptoms, and
You got the flu.
And people were just freaking out. And, then the vaccine came. People were like, oh, yeah, we have hope. And look, I don't know if you've noticed on the interstate and everywhere else, it's like, our shot. Have you seen those billboards? They're being put up by my former employer.
Huh.
It's like, our best shot. And it's just like, encouraging people to get the vaccine and that.
Nice.
Or the various states putting up lotteries for you to get vaccinated. If you get vaccinated, you get entered into like these $1 million lotteries and all that.
Wow.
Our 7 day. This is from the CDC. Their data is lagging behind a little bit of that other graph I had, so that's fine. But their data is of July 15th. 7-day moving average was 27,804. Okay? That's of July 15th, right? Back January 10th of this year, the 7-day average was 251,880.
That's a big number.
So,
bigger number, for sure.
Just crazy huge spike. Where we're at right now is, let's see here.
No,
go on.
I'll say for that, I mean that's not just I guess is that just new cases, or
right?
Is that
new people diagnosed with
it?
What? Right. So last year, July 15th, right? If I look at the July 15th one, right? The 7-day moving average at that point was 66,869.
Okay.
And now it's down.
Yeah.
To
27,804.
So it's still kind of high. That's still a decent amount of people over a 7-day per. 27,000 per day are getting it.
Because I guess I'm thinking, especially if that's just new people, that's not including people getting it again, right?
That's a whole other conversation.
Oof.
Of people getting again, because now this is just positive. This isn't new, when they say new people, that can include the getting it again group, quote unquote.
Okay. Because I was thinking, if it's only going to include people getting it for the first time, well, then obviously the number's going to be getting lower. But okay,
This is a positive test result. Where you've had before or not, or whatever.
Okay.
Where you're vaccinated or not.
Or not.
This is that. This is pulling right from the CDC website, which is covid.cdc.gov.
Okay, because now also, so let's say you've gotten COVID. I guess I'm trying to think of if you've gotten COVID. Get over it. When you get it again, would everybody that I guess starts to feel symptoms again go get tested again, or are there people that would probably get symptoms again and not even think about getting tested again?
There's probably going to be both, especially now with this Delta variant going around.
Yeah.
People are probably going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to get tested.
Especially if it's in the news.
Yep.
Which obviously it is.
So if I told you, Aaron, right now.
Yeah.
27,804. 39,014 people yesterday in all the United States were tested positive for COVID, right? Which, again, that is, you see here. Do you want to guess the percentage of that? Of the United States population that tested positive for COVID on July 15th?
Very small amount.
Just take a guess what that percentage is.
You said 24,000?
39,000. It's that 24,000 moving average.
Okay. Gee. That's not. That wouldn't even be 1%.
Yeah, you're right. That's 0.0001%.
Very, very small number.
Again, if you hear a small number like that, and again, you could use that number for either side.
Yeah, you could.
This isn't a problem because only 0.0001%. Or you could use it as, hey, 39,000 were across the U.S. were tested positive yesterday. You're like, okay. You now know some of the numbers, right?
Yeah.
Well, what if I go 90% of those tested yesterday tested positive. What's the number that were tested?
You don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of people are just getting up in arms and freaked out over what's going on. And instead of that, it's like, hey, let's look at the actual raw data. Let's look at the actual numbers put out, and we have to believe numbers from somewhere. We have to all agree on a universal truth. We cannot have relativistic truth, especially when dealing with something like a pandemic.
Don't tell me what I can and can't do.
Well, that has been interesting because that brings up a whole other thing. When you have all these scientists and all this going, hey, this vaccine's great, we did it, right? You have the culture as a whole going, but my truth is my truth, and you can't tell me what my truth is.
Correct.
And then you're coming over here and having these scientists go, but this is the truth, and you wonder why there's this distrust and this disunity between the two. And then you have Karens over here going, but you must get the vaccine because if you ever want a good cringe fest, go to Libs on Twitter, Libs on TikTok. It's a Twitter account. So it's a Twitter account called Libs on TikTok. And they collect some of the most cringiest of cringe that's ever out there on the internet. And
I like it.
And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
I know I'm checking it out later.
Oh, I have some for you.
Okay. Woo!
But you have all this going on, right?
Yes.
And so there's no wonder that, hey, guess what? There's talk about lockdown 2.0.
Of course.
And so I'm just wondering how long it's going to take until people finally say no.
We'll see now, because all right. Before obviously we started this, when you mentioned the other lockdown, I had a different understanding of what the lockdown was for.
What do you think the lockdown was for?
Now, I have heard that the lockdown could potentially be because of climate change.
I've heard that one. That one's kind of a weird one. I know some of the people want that in the future. Like, there are some people who want to declare climate change a health emergency, so that way we can lock down for climate changes in the future.
Okay, yeah.
And when I say that, it's like, oh, we're pumping too much CO2. Let's lock down everyone so that way we can't drive and all that.
I mean, I will say that things did become cleaner with the less traveling going on, but I don't know.
Yeah, there was less traveling. There was more. I've been working. I've been working at home. Past year now, right?
Lucky you.
And a lot more time to do what I do, which is good because I need that. But I look at this and I look at what lockdown has done to us beyond, oh, look, the sky is cleaner. That's cool. Let's see here. According to a CNN article, I know I said CNN and I didn't burst into flames.
You're about to now, boy.
There was about an 890% increase in calls to suicide helplines.
Yeah. There's a lot of other damage.
That is a ton of damage right there, just in and of itself.
Yeah.
You have people feeling isolated and alone that are like, I'm at the end of my ropes because of this. And it's not like they can go out and do anything.
But clear skies.
If I was a swearing person,
this would be the moment.
This would be the moment where I'd say, F the clear skies.
Yes. Yeah.
Give me the skies full of the brown clouds of doom and destruction and grayness. Yes. I will take that every day over people feeling that they are at the end of their ropes and the only way out is for them to end their lives because they are so lonely because of the stupid things that we have to do.
Yeah. I'd agree with you on that one. Yeah.
If you want to wear the mask, go on and do it. That's fine. I don't care. When I was at Life Fest, I saw maybe like 4 people wear a mask, and that was fine.
Oh, wow.
That was it.
That's actually really surprising.
I was really surprised too, but that was it. And I was like, well, whatever. You want to wear a mask, you wear a mask, whatever. Other than that, at Life Fest, everyone was packed in together and all crowded.
So you're all like sardines anyways.
And it's funny because everywhere there were signs. Keep 6 feet apart. Keep the distance of a cow apart. No one kept apart.
No, you can't do
just like I was reading through their FAQs, and I was like, and this made me laugh. It's like, as part of us having our shower stalls, someone will clean each shower stall after each use. I was like, no one did. No.
That's not happening.
No, it did not happen.
Liars.
So I was just laughing to myself with all that going on. They're like, keep 6 feet apart, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, no, they're not.
You can't. Yeah, there's just no living way that's going to happen.
I was like, there's no one even 6 feet apart back in their area where they had the reserved seating. Even the reserved seating wasn't 6 feet apart. So I was like...
So you're really making a case for yourself here on this one.
So I was just laughing. But, I will take any of that. I will take any of those restrictions any day over the lockdowns. Over people wanting to end their lives because they have no social interactions whatsoever. It is destructive, especially to those who are younger, who need that social interaction while they're growing up and while they're learning how to interact with other people. We are going to grow up in the next few years, and we're going to see scores of people who have no idea how to be social because they grew up in this lockdown era. Their formative years of learning how to interact with other people is going to be learning how to interact with Zoom.
Yeah.
We already have a bad enough where people just sit there and go, whoop, look at my phone, and just watch their phone only.
Yeah.
That's bad enough. I'm guilty of it as well. Don't get me wrong. There are times when it's like I have to force myself to go, put my phone down.
Yeah.
When we were at Josh and Amy's wedding, I don't know if you saw this picture that Pastor Dave took. There was a kid who had a phone. He was watching it, but he leaned his head up against a pillar, so he was leaning and didn't have to support his head up, and it was just kind of pushed against there, so he had could just look down at his phone with no interruption at all during the entire reception. Jeez. And these are the kids that are growing up now, and it's bad enough as is.
Yeah.
And if we go back to another lockdown, I fear it's going to get only worse.
It's going to get worse.
And I don't like that.
Oh, no.
And part of me, there's this cognitive dissonance in me right now.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to say, there is no way the government and others could be so maniacal and so disruptive and so untrustworthy that this is purposefully done. And the other part of me goes, if it's a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, if it flies like a duck, if it swims like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah.
And if it tastes like duck, it's definitely duck.
It's definitely a duck. Yeah.
So I have that dissonance in me where I'm going, there's no way that the government and the people in the world would do this intentionally to manipulate. And then I go, if it tastes, if it looks, if it quacks, if it waddles, if it swims, if it flies, if it feels, if it sounds, it is a duck.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one to follow. and I'm being honest there.
Yeah.
Because I want to believe in a way that people are not that naive, but then at the same time,
I'm not surprised by anything almost.
I see a Twitter archive of BLM saying, "May you rest in power, Fidel Castro." Especially with all this is going on in Cuba right now, where you have people protesting and saying, we do not want this crap anymore. We don't want this. And BLM going, oh, but this is such a great thing that your communism that you have. And it's like, wait, no, hold on. What?
Dude, we were listening to, at work, we were listening to a podcast, and I didn't realize, how bad Cuba was. I didn't realize how intense the government control was. To the point where, the stuff apparently that has been seen was never supposed to reach the light of day. Like, because apparently they shut down the internet on the people so
Yes.
that they couldn't post stuff anymore.
Yep. And
that's outrageous. And that's, well, okay.
Was it DeSantis, governor of Florida? He's working on trying to figure out a way to get internet access back to Cuba.
Oh, wow.
Like through satellite or 5G or whatever, 4G.
Because I guess I say that's outrageous, but like, because I can't imagine the treatment that they've gotten for however long. I mean, it's forever. But yeah, I didn't think that the whole protesting stuff. I was like, oh wow, like I mean, I don't know. That takes a lot of effort to do, but I didn't realize how, like, what level of desperation that meant for those people to do that. Like, I didn't. The guy that was talking about it, he was saying, he's like, because I mean, people would choose to face the ocean rather than get everyone to protest because of how much they fear their government. So the fact that everyone's now protesting, like they're all putting themselves at great risk to do so. And he's like, at some point, he's like, he's hoping it doesn't come to it, I guess. But I was like, what if they just start killing everybody that starts protesting?
They've already started shooting.
Never mind that.
That's already been happening.
That's been happening.
They've already have shot some of the protesters.
Oh my gosh. So.
And this is completely off topic.
Yeah.
You know, but in regards to that,
yeah,
I'm going to read this. In a swift departure from lax border policies in place since the Biden administration came to office January 20th, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas told Cubans and Haitians fleeing political violence not to bother coming to the United States. Allow me to be clear. If you take to the sea, you will not come to the United States, Mayorkas said. This move also marked a historic break in the past, as the United States traditionally has granted asylum to Cubans fleeing persecution since the 1959 revolution. The time is never right to attempt migration by sea, Mayorkas said. To those who risk their lives doing so, the risk is not worth taking. Do not risk your life attempting to enter the United States illegally. The Biden administration's response has come under criticism from other fronts. So they're not welcoming at all any refugees coming in from Cuba, which just drives me nuts. But yeah,
how does that make sense? I thought the thing was to open borders. Well, I mean now because at first I thought that was a huge thing that they were going to open borders, let people in, at least from Mexico, and then it changed because there was too much going on. To where I thought Biden said we need to take control of what's happening at the border. But, okay, because Mexico has, I mean, obviously its own issues. People want to come to America from Mexico for, I'm sure, many reasons.
Yep.
So then, I guess why not? I mean, if we're going to do something for them, why wouldn't we do anything for Cuba?
Yeah, this is going to be just interesting to watch play out. It's going to be a test for the Biden administration, but yeah.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Which
and Jasaki is not doing Pasaki.
Pasaki, just
yeah.
Ugh.
But anyways,
that lady.
What's funny is
person.
When this first started up in Cuba, they tried blaming the protest on COVID and food shortages.
Not the government.
Yeah. Eventually, Pasaki said, I think we've been pretty clear that we think people are leaving Cuba or not leaving Cuba or protesting in the streets as well because they are opposed to the opposition to the mismanagement of the government in the country. Word salad here. I've had better word salad in my...
I hate how much they have to, like, throw in there for words to, like, get some kind of message across. Make it seem like it's not so bad.
Yeah. So, like I said, this is going to be interesting because China is supporting Cuba's communist regime. BLM is supporting Cuba's communist regime.
Yep.
And everyone else is like, no. And even, was it Rep. Val Demings? Yeah, Demings. Democrat from Florida. She's even like, yeah, we need to get internet access somehow into Cuba and so that they can
get that stuff out there.
What's going on down there.
Oh, man. Well, maybe with a second lockdown, we could, if everybody will take time to try and figure out ideas on how to help there. That could be a good reason for a lockdown. How do we help Cuba?
Well, Psaki is on it.
Oh, she's on it?
We're certainly looking at those to see what can be done to address. But in terms of that specific proposal, I don't have an assessment of that. This is when she was asked about DeSantis' idea of providing internet access to Cubans somehow. So I was like, what?
I didn't realize they're only 90 miles away.
Yeah, they're not that far.
Yeah.
It seems like forever because of the sea.
Right.
They're not that far.
But
it's still, even trying to do that is still very hard to do.
Oh, well, if you're trying to escape from Cuba to come to the U.S. overseas, you're not going to have anything that's traveling fast to get you overseas.
No, you're going to have a little raft, and people have died doing that. So,
and that was the one thing that they're saying is like that's a ginormous graveyard in between Florida and Cuba.
Yeah,
and it's just that's freaky, and I can't. Man, I got scared after a while of just swimming at the beach in Florida. I can't imagine trying to take a raft to go across from one place to another. I don't know if I could. I say I don't know if I could actually do it, but I'm not in the mode of like being desperate to get somewhere. But I can't imagine being to that point where you would do something like that because the ocean, it just terrifies me. Ugh. My gosh.
Yeah. So, even if you look it up on like Wikipedia and that, it says that it started because of a shortage of food and medicine.
Huh.
But to be fair, communism is that shortage of supplies,
right.
Food, medicine, everything else in between.
So it's the source of what's going on.
So could this be the future of the United States in that regard?
Could be.
Well, it very well could be.
Which I hope not.
Well, you know what? Maybe we'll talk about that in the next episode because I have a feeling in the next episode it's really going to continue a lot of this stuff. But here's where it ultimately comes down to. Lockdown 2.0.
Yeah.
It probably is coming, whether we like it or not, this fall. We're going to return to mask mandates, 6 feet social distancing, shutdown of non-essential services. That's probably going to happen.
Speed Rep is... I'm sorry, Speed Tech, but Speed Rep's not essential.
They're going to make it essential.
I know.
And we're probably going to have, the great... I almost call it the fecal tissue shortage.
Toilet paper?
Toilet paper shortage 2.0 of 2021. We're going to have that run on toilet paper again.
Well, I got something that'll help you with that. So... I learned it from a Cheapskate episode. Just use newspaper. Okay. No. Or don't.
No.
Be a man, use your hand. Or be a person and use your hand. And then just wipe it off. Clean it later.
No.
Well, not later. Like immediately.
No. No. Anyways.
All right. Whatever. Take a shower. I don't know.
Lockdown 2.0 is definitely...
you think it's happening?
I have a feeling we're going to see this every fall.
Every fall?
For a while.
Until how long?
Probably.
Do you think it'll last until summer starts up again? Or like kind of spring?
Yeah. So it's going to be like
it's just that winter season
thing.
Because,
instead of us getting flus and colds, we're now going to get COVID
See,
every fall.
Oh, for sure. But now, I guess my thing is, depending on where you live, should that lockdown happen sooner and go longer? Because, like, look at Florida compared to Wisconsin.
Let's just lock down California 24/7, 365.
Oh, that's fine. Like, you can keep them out of here. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be like that.
No, be like that. I don't care. It's California.
Okay. Because I'm sure there's still people I would love in California. There are people I love in California.
We could still lock them down because it's California.
True. Lockdown California. But if you can get out of California and you want to,
well, they are.
Do it.
There are people leaving. They lost.
Yeah. Oh, they did lose a lot of people.
They lost a seat in the House.
Oh.
Because so many people left.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Wow.
At the conclusion.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Jeez. Yeah, they're losing people. Wow.
I think it was Texas that gained a seat.
Yeah, I do remember a ton of people are going to Texas. Elon Musk went to Texas.
Yeah, the problem is if you do the whole thing of you're just transporting your failed values over to another state, are you going to turn Texas into California 2.0?
That's dangerous.
And it is happening somewhat. Because, like, when Elon Musk took his work over there, right?
Yeah.
He's transporting himself, but he's transporting all of his workers as well, who may not have wanted to move, but were forced to move if they wanted to keep their job.
Right.
So it's not that they're moving there for political reasons. It's they're moving there because of the job reasons, and they're bringing their political views over.
There, yeah.
But it's going to be interesting because this whole lockdown thing has brought to light a bunch of other things that have made people upset. People are paying attention to like what their kids are being taught in schools, and there's a lot of people who are not happy with that.
Oh, for sure.
Like they're watching some of these things and they're going, "Wait, your teacher's teaching you what? What was it? It was a school here in Wisconsin, I think it was." I'm trying to word this as PG-13ish as possible.
Ooh.
Younger kids, like I'm talking like preteens, given books and videos on how to touch and pleasure themselves. Preteens.
I knew how to do that when I was like 7, so it's whatever.
I know, but fine, whatever.
There's the not intentionally, but
yeah, but you weren't taught that in school at the time.
No.
You might have been taught some sex ed, like, hey, the difference between. I remember it started. I don't know. It was 5th grade when sex ed classes started for me.
5th grade?
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like we didn't. I feel like we touched on a very small amount of stuff, and the whole, I guess, as soon as like the whole like puberty years started hitting, but for like an actual sex ed kind of thing, it was like 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah.
When we really like dug into stuff.
Oh, we didn't. Obviously, it wasn't like deep. It was
no
at a 5th grade level. It was very.
Oh, okay. So,
it wasn't like.
Probably very similar then.
It was very, but that's when it started, and okay, fine, and they let the parents know that it was starting, and parents could opt out if they wanted. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
This is not so much that. This is
just, hey, we did this,
and so parents are finding this out now. Parents are recording classes.
Ooh.
So you have people who want the lockdowns to continue, and you have people, a lot of the crazy teachers, and I'm not saying all teachers are crazy. There are good teachers out there.
There are good teachers out there.
But the crazy teachers, okay, they don't want the lockdowns to continue because all the stuff that they're teaching, it can now be recorded on Zoom or, whatever.
Oh, now.
Now. If the lockdowns continue, then it's like, oh, wait, the parents can see what I'm teaching their kids. We don't like this.
That's stupid. Well, because, wasn't there a thing of how they didn't want to allow parents to observe?
Yeah, there were teachers who were like, your parents can't observe this while we're teaching you.
That's so stupid. The parents should definitely be able to observe what's going on in the schools and what's being taught to your kids.
But they know better.
No. Not all the time. Everybody needs to be taught something now and then.
Yeah, I know. So
frustrating.
and you saw this last, even I think back in August of last year. Articles coming out. Teachers worries parents might find out what he's teaching children. And it's like, wait, what? Obviously the headline was done a little bit to get your attention.
Yeah.
But it's still like, huh, okay, what's going on?
Oh, wow. Okay. I hope another lockdown doesn't happen.
We'll see. It's good. It's going to be interesting because politicians want it to happen. Teachers don't want it to happen. Parents don't want it to happen because they don't want to have to be locked away. Unless, the only way they would want it to happen is if they're at home with their kids again.
Yeah.
So then they're not worrying about, do I have to get babysitter for my kids, blah, 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 blah.
Especially if they have to work and the kids can't go anywhere. And
Yeah.
Man. I guess also as far as like the whole like small business side of stuff, like all the mom and pop shops that will have to be forced to be shut down again.
Yep.
It's like at some point there is going to be no mom and pop shops. It's only the big names. And it's just going to be so... it's damaging. Very damaging. Not worth it.
So, yeah, this will be part of it's going to be political. Part of it's going to be reactionary and scared. Some of it because of, again, the news going this percent, this percent, this percent, this percent, this percent,
Yeah.
But this is an archive from a teacher. He has since made his Twitter account private, removing all his tweets, but someone archived it before.
Sucker!
So I'll go ahead and read this, and then I want to hear your reaction on this.
Okay.
This is from last year, August of last year. So, this fall, virtual class discussions will have many potential spectators, parents, siblings, etc., in the same room. We'll never be quite sure who is overhearing the discourse. What does this do for our equity/inclusion work? How much have students depended on the somewhat secure barriers of our physical classrooms to encourage vulnerability? How many of us have installed some version of what happens here stays here to help this? Where have I heard what happens here stays here? Oh, yeah, Las Vegas. While conversations about race are in my wheelhouse and remain a concern in this no walls environment, I am most intrigued by the damage that helicopter snowplow parents can do in honest conversations about gender and sexuality. And while conservative parents are my chief concern, I know that damage can come from the left too. If we are engaged in the messy work of destabilizing a kid's racism or homophobia or transphobia, how much do we want their classmates' parents piling on? All right? And then they go, and then you can go down and people are replying, in my district, we already had a white parent record their child's Zoom meeting and file a complaint against the teacher for an anti-racist read aloud, saying the teacher's commentary was inappropriate and biased. It's going to be an issue. I've been talking about this too. Pronouns. I was going to ask students via survey who I could use their pronouns in front of. But what if caregivers view that survey and students aren't out to them yet? So, all this stuff going on, this is something I worry about a lot. My ninth graders read and respond to a news article in each class, and the discussions we have are really important. But many students will not participate when virtual because they fear outsiders listening and using their words against them. Outsiders, like family. I'm just like, okay. So, yes.
It's all nightmare fuel.
Oh, no, I have nightmare fuel for you for after this.
Oh, great.
So that teacher's up at a public high school, the one that was like, I don't want the people listening in on what
I have to say to their kids.
Yeah. I'm like, and here's my thing. If I had a kid that was in school and attending a Zoom class, 100%, I would record every meeting.
Yeah.
Every class. Yep.
I guess my thing is what granted, it depends on, I guess, the kid's relationship with the parents. But, you know, I don't want, I'd come home from school. My parents would be like, all right, so what did you learn? What did you talk about at school today? So whether they're paying attention to you over Zoom or observing some other way, it's like, I mean, once the kid comes home, he's like, oh, well, what'd you learn? Well, I learned, we talked about this, this, and that. It's like, at some point or another, it's like your material is going to be
you would
brought
think,
up.
You would think so, but
Yeah.
as he's saying, he's using the classroom, the walls of
As
the
a
classroom,
safe-
as a quote-unquote safe space where what happens here stays here.
See, and if I had a kid, and my kid told me that he can't talk about what he learned at school today at home,
There would be no
there'd
going
be
to school tomorrow.
Massive issues with
Yeah,
that.
I'm not making a direct comparison. Okay, I want to make that very clear. I'm not making a direct comparison, but to me, in my head, when I hear something like that, like this is a safe space, what happens here stays here. That's like someone abusing a child in any sort of way,
Yeah.
and then saying, "It's our secret. You can't tell mommy and daddy."
See,
That's what I think of. Obviously, I'm not making a direct comparison, but that's immediately what comes to my head. It's like it's the abuse that's just happening in them. In one way, I'm glad that teachers are scared of what is taught over Zoom, and they don't want the lockdowns to continue in that way. In another way, I'm not happy with that because, again, if you go to the Libs on TikTok Twitter account, there are actually students who, like, they flip their phones upside down, but they have the audio recording. And some of the stuff that they capture there is just, it's eye-opening.
frightening.
It's eye-opening.
Whew.
So, as we go into lockdown 2.0,
What new things will we learn?
we will learn quite a few things. And we will have nightmare fuel forever. And we will learn how far we have fallen. And maybe that's going to lead into the next thing. Maybe that's going to lead into the balkanization of the United States.